I filmed a video several weeks back on building a new front garden gate when our old garden gate actually pulled off of its hinges and it was in rough shape and it just needed to be replaced. Now it was time to turn my attention to the back garden gate, which was actually in equal, if not worse, shape than the front one. The wire was coming off the front, as you can see, and it also was dragging on the ground, and it just really needed to be replaced. So I got to work dismantling it and pulling it apart. This lizard was living in the gate, so I kind of felt bad, but it needed to go. And I am going to save all of this hardware and use it for something else. I don't know what yet. And in the meantime, I'll use this pallet to block the area so no foxes or anything get into the garden. My main goal with this project was to spend no money and just use the things that we had on hand. Now, the original gate on the back was 3 feet tall, but I went ahead and made it 4 feet tall just simply because I could. There was no other reason. I just could. So I went ahead and did that, but I did keep the original width. Now, something I forgot to put on the other gate, which I did end up adding later, was a cross brace, and I found a 2x4 that would work for that purpose. The piece that's going to be our cross brace, which is going to help hold the gate up, it's a little teeny tiny bit short, okay? We could do with 2 more inches. It might just be like an inch too short, okay? So I just have to be precise with my cuts because I can only measure once. So measure, wait, yeah, cut once, measure twice, cut once. I had to say it to myself a couple times because I used to think it was measure for a long time. I don't know why. I used to think it was measure once, cut twice because I was like, you make multiple cuts like that. But like, no, it was the other way around. We're using what we have. We're being thrifty. Okay, we're being thrifty. Save the planet. You know what I'm saying? Save the planet. So let's go cut. Let's go cut some wood. I simply did this by laying the wood corner to corner, lining it up, making a mark, and then cutting it. Like a glove. See what I mean though, where it's like this meets, but then this one doesn't? Well, I had no choice. Long story short, I did end up finding 2 2x4s later, but it was after it was done, so it was okay because I ended up needing both, so it wasn't a big deal. And this is what the overall base frame of the gate looks like. Then I gathered up all the wood that I was going to be repurposing to use for the pickets, and I got started by pulling all of the brad nails out of it because there was a lot in there. I have all of the brad nails pulled out of the pieces of wood over here, and I can go ahead and start laying them out and measuring, because this gate is the first gate back here that I built, but I want it to look different. And what I'm basically going to do is essentially what the gate will look like is it'll look like this. It will have this shape to it, so the middle will be lower than the pickets on the side because I want it to have that U shape because I think that's really pretty, that type of a shape to it. Oh my goodness, can you see it? Can you see the vision? One of the reasons, so I need to measure that out, but when I cut the pieces, I want the tops of them, instead of being squared off and flat, I want them to be rounded or scalloped. So I made 2 patterns. So I made the round pattern, which was my original plan, and then I made the scalloped pattern. And I'm going to take this piece of wood and a Sawzall, and I'm going to cut the pattern on both ends so then I can see which pattern I like better. So we're going to do that really quick. All right, I just cut up the pieces. I think we're going to go with a scalloped edge. I think it looks the prettiest. I'm happy with it. It turned out it was a little easier to do than the round, and I didn't even worry about getting the round perfect when I was doing it because the problem is the blade's a little wonky, so it shifts, and so I guess a bandsaw probably would be the thing to use, but whatever. I think I'm gonna go with scalloped edge. I just think it'll be pretty, and I kind of wanted something that kind of had like a whimsical cottage garden feel to it, and so I think these will end up looking really pretty, especially with like a little swoop in the gate. I have a vision, and it's coming together. It's coming together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
So a couple of things have changed as I worked on this project. The first thing that changed is I forgot I changed the height of it. I know I mentioned that I changed the height earlier, but it was at this point that I remembered that I actually did that, and I was trying to figure out if I had enough wood for it, so that's why. The old gate was 3 feet 1 inch, and I changed it to being roughly about 44 inches tall, so it would match the gate over here. The other thing is, I got to looking at it, and some of these are cut at an angle, and I am going to be able to get away with my swooping design, which that was the most important thing to me, is I wanted that visual interest of kind of that U shape cut out in the fence, or the gate, sorry, and that was more important to me than the scallops. I think that actually might look really good, and it might look better than the scallops. So I'm not 100% sure if I will do the scallops or not. I just kind of need to think about this a little bit before I make any rash decisions. We shall see. So it's like 7:38. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up and pack it in, and then we will tackle this either in the morning or on another day if it's not raining tomorrow. But this essentially is what it's gonna look like. It's gonna have this swoop, and I think that'll be really nice. And like I said, I really like the way it looks, kind of slightly cut at an angle, some of these. So I just want to think about it before I make any rash decisions. The next day. Something I forgot to mention is that one of the boards was a little bit too wide. So the next day I used the table saw and I cut it to be 3 inches wide like all of the other pieces. So now that our board is cut, all we need to do is decide, are we going to scallop the top edges or are we going to cut them at a slant? Now, upon someone's very professional opinion, are we thinking scalloped or slanted pickets? Do you have any thoughts or comments? I'm pretty sure it's unanimous. I think they're thinking slanted. They like it at an angle, I'm pretty sure. I've decided to do slanted cuts. The reason for this is because I think it will look better. So because I'm already doing that U shape, I think it will emphasize it. That was more important to me than having scalloped edges. I do still want to attempt a heart cutout. I want to practice on a piece of wood with a heart cutout and see how difficult that is. Spoiler, that's very difficult. So that didn't work out at all. But points for effort. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do that, and if I do it, I'm not going to do it on every single board. We'll just see when we get there. But for the actual pickets themselves, I do think I want to go with the slanted because I think it will look better, and it's more of the vibe I'm really going for, which I still think it's really cottagey. It's just a little bit more rustic cottage, not cutesy cottage, if that makes sense. So I think that's the vibe. We're going to go ahead, measure them to the height that they need to be, and just get to cutting them to the proper length. So let's go. So I had 10 boards all together laid across the front of the gate. I cut the middle 2 flat at no angle, the second pieces on either side of that at 5, then I went up to 15, then I went to 30, and lastly I went to 45 for my tallest pieces. And the reason that I did this is so it would have a gradual incline into the swooping shape. I was able to rummage around and find a bunch of old screws to reuse for this project. The spacing between each one of these is about roughly, I think, 2 inches, and I screwed them all in place. And I like using screws for stuff like this as opposed to nails because it holds a little better. Okay, so I messed around with the heart cutouts. This is what they look like. And I did it on a piece of scrap wood, and I'm just like, this one's really bad. Don't look at that one. That one was a mess up. Not super pleased with them because they just don't, if I put it up against the blue, I mean, they look okay. They look okay. They're just not great. And the other thing that's happening when I'm doing it, I don't know, can you see it? Yeah, right here. It's really bad. It's chipping the wood, and I don't really want to do that. So, I think we're just gonna go with no heart cutouts. And that's kind of what, like, you win some, you learn some. I just don't want to damage because, like, at this point, it's like I don't want to make any mess ups because I don't have enough of this wood laying around to just be like, oh, I screwed up, I can just, throw a new piece in there. Nay. So we're just gonna forego the heart cutouts, and we're just going to attach the pickets and go with that as is for the time being. The following day, it was time to give the gate a coat of paint. I opted for this white satin paint plus primer from Tractor Supply. I don't know if they still carry it in stores anymore. I think you have to get this either online. I think it's available on their website, but I'm not sure. But it's a very runny formula, and it's quite thin, so you have to use multiple coats if you're going to use this as your main color. So we are ready to start painting our gate, but first we're going to paint this picnic table. So I wanted to paint the gate for the garden green because we had green paint, and I was also looking on Pinterest and I really liked the way the garden gates looked when they were green. I was like, wait a second, we have green paint, I should paint them green. But we had originally bought this green paint for this picnic table. So we're going to go ahead and paint this picnic table first. I primed it yesterday when I primed the gate. So I will paint the picnic table first because that was the original intent for the paint. And then I will take the remainder of that paint and I will paint the garden gate. And the color is called Graceful Green. And it's just a really nice green color. It's really pretty, and we'll see how it looks. I was really pleased when I took the lid off of this canister of paint because it is such a lovely green color. I was worried it was going to be a little on the yellow side of green, but it turned out perfect. I could get away with 2 coats, one really thick, thorough coat, and then one kind of touch up to get any of those like missing spots. But the underneath part, I just did a really light second coat. I didn't go crazy, but I love so much how this turned out. Now, don't you just love this green color? I mean, honestly, I just love this color so much. Well, didn't I ever tell you green is my favorite color? No, you've never mentioned that. I love it almost as much as blue and yellow combined. Oh, you are so deliciously witty. Well, I get it from you. This is what friends look like as a homeschooler. Take notes. After that riveting conversation with such a dashing young man, if I do say so myself, I got to work on painting the gate. Something I would recommend is that if you know you're going to be painting your gate beforehand, go ahead and paint the pieces before you put it together because it's actually a lot easier to get in all the nooks and crannies. I did that with the second gate I built and it was much, much easier. I let it dry thoroughly for a day or two before I brought it out, and all there was left to do was to hang it, and Josh helped me by holding up the gate while I drilled it in, because that's really hard to do as one person. You are probably wondering what is up with this secondary gate. So basically, I took that gate down, took it apart, painted it, and rebuilt it, and didn't film any of it because my camera was dead, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. So I did. So that's what this second gate is the gate that was originally here. She had a little makeover, a glow up, I think, to be honest. And yeah, so that's what the deal is with that. So explanation accounted for. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you. If you liked this video, please let me know by giving it a big thumbs up. Feel free to click that big red subscribe button if you want to stick around and to never miss an upload. All you got to do is click that bell icon to receive notifications every time that I upload. Feel free to drop a comment in the comment section down below. I absolutely love hearing from you all. And all of my socials will be linked in the description box down below. So if you want to head on over there and give me a follow, then we can be friends. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night or whenever you're watching this, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye. I saw this thing and they were like, there's just something about 46 takes for an outro that's just like, eh. And I'm like, can't relate. I get it on the first time. Never have I ever gotten something on the first time, ever. It's tragic. No, you've never mentioned that. Oh, you are so deliciously witty. We're going to see how this angle is before I do all my talking because I've done a bunch of talking not in frame. That's what happens. We'll see. Let's check.